of all this
Actually, I
stuff.
think it's this weekend.
It's
That's
this
right
weekend.
now, yeah.
But we're
Okay, well,
gonna be moving, so.
Oh, that's exciting.
You missed Island
hope they all
days?
get along.
Today, it's this weekend.
What?
Well, it
It's
is a
right
farm.
now.
Oh, it is
Oh,
great.
that's
I'm gonna, what is
Well,
it?
thank you, I'm
Isle
glad.
Days up in Isle, Minnesota, Lake Mille Lacs.
Need some help.
It's a little
It was
town.
sold
I
out.
used to
I
live
heard it.
there. He
And
goes
that's good.
there
That's
frequently
good.
and stays.
So it should be here.
I bring him the Isle
You
papers.
never know.
Well, I have been to a couple of state parks up there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Father Hanneman's right in Isle.
And
Look,
Capio
it's
has
beautiful, of course.
a fire tower.
Oh, yeah, the
And
fire
we
tower.
went hiking with this little, and we
Oh,
went
during,
during one year. And the color from, you know, the autumn color
Yeah.
from, was some of the best I have ever seen in my life, from the top of that fire tower.
Okay.
But yes, I have no, you know, it's,
Yeah, no, don't make me talk to you. We got 5 minutes.
talk amongst yourselves.
But it is what it is. We deal with it.
Here's Joan. Welcome back, Joan.
Oh,
And I was hiding up there, I can see him dead. I've been looking for this ever since. And she put them away on the shelf, the top shelf.
yeah, I used to do
My
that.
room, when I went in,
Janitor,
discovered them.
just before the
All
church
this,
started.
I'm sick of using septic yourself.
Oh, I have a cold, I started sneezing, yesterday I just felt really tired, all I wanted to do was go back to bed, which I did.
Yeah.
When she was
For
going
some
to
of it,
Korea.
and then this morning I was just feel kind of like lack of energy, and then I started sneezing, so I
You
said,
know,
you know,
cold
that's
is
what
really
this
going
is.
around, yeah.
Is there one? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
going around a lot.
Okay,
Some
but I
people
mean,
I know in
it's-
another building.
That's one thing we learned from COVID, if you're sick and you know, like mildly like this.
Right.
But yeah, my, I mean, it's pretty mild, it was so.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
I'll bring, we're having a board retreat in August, so.
Oh.
It's pretty. And it's,
Yeah,
yeah, you
but,
charge.
I mean, it's just the back so far, you know. But then once that happens, then the actual hips get all, yeah,
Great idea.
messed up in the back.
Hi, Rita. Good to see you.
Thank you, good to see you. Keep it back up there. And if you want to go down there, I love going down there.
I was looking at you.
I still have tea to drink before, so we start.
Drink up.
It's just.
Bryan, the spirit of let's just say once through, because it's longer, or you want it
I have a little table on my bed.
I'll let you
That's
know.
where I put
Okay.
mine, and it just blows on my face. and cools me down. Yes. Hot all the time. My husband was loud. I was, and drove him crazy. Just-
You have to share your humor.
Yeah.
It's the season, it just doesn't get rain.
Fucking mad.
Oh. Mine always struggled, you know, get water real.
so distracted.
Thank you.
Many years ago.
Just
It's Alice right here. Her mom.
Yeah, I always forget. I'll never forget. Doesn't stay long.
I will play through Spirit of Life, the whole piece, and then we'll sing it just once through.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. We're glad that you're here, and welcome to all of our online members and guests. We're glad that you're here as well, and also we'd like to begin saying thank you to our tech people. We should have started that a long time ago, for making that possible for our online viewers and guests. We're really glad that we have the technology and the ability to do that and offer that to the community. Just a reminder, my name is Bryan. For those of you who don't know me, mostly that's for the online people. My pronouns are he, him. I'd also like to just remind everyone that we don't take up an offering, but we do have a plate in the back. And for all those people online, if you wish to give, there are a couple of ways to give on our website. We have our next service is on August the 11th. That's our last summer service, so I just wanted to make sure that I made that announcement, and also to say that our regular church year weekly services begin on Sunday, September the 8th. And in September we have an interesting thing because we have 5 Sundays. Of course, the first Sunday is Labor Day weekend, so we don't have service that day. So we'll have 4 Sundays in September, which leads me to another announcement, is that our Rally Sunday is going to be the last Sunday in September, which is, Rally Sunday is the day we sort of like jumpstart the regular church year. We give ourselves a few weeks to get into it, and then that'll be the day that we sort of like invite friends and family and things like that to have a big celebration. So more to come for that. Was there an announcement there? Okay. I will ask for announcements in a second, but one of the announcements I've been asked to give is that tomorrow at 6:30 at Dawn's, there is a group of people meeting to do UU the Vote postcards. And if you need more information about that, you can see Alice or Dawn, I guess, about that as far as how that goes. But certainly see Dawn, and Dawn's address is in our directory as well. So, but I'm certainly certain she'll give you directions if you need that. Any other announcements that we might want to share with the community? All right. Well, with that, I invite you to take a deep, gentle breath. Settle yourself as much as you can and separate yourself from the chaos of the world as much as possible. Sometimes that's challenging. And come together with this group and with the universe as we meditate and begin our service. I invite you to remain seated as we join together in our opening words and the lighting of the chalice. In the spirit of community and a sense of purpose in our ministry,
May we come together as one voice of love.
let us commence the discovery of our strengths, our concerns, our grief, and our joy.
We gather with curiosity and compassion, embracing new opportunities of hope, even in the midst of uncertainty.
May this journey be one of love, authenticity, and reverence.
Let us strive together to be radically open and hospitable to the best of our abilities.
Let us shape our lives, our work, and our days as an expression of profound joy as we look to new beginnings.
And let us renew ourselves in love for one another as we embrace our commitment to service and to make the world a better place.
In the spirit of new beginnings, light this chalice as a community and say together,
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal with love, to help with compassion, to bless with joy, to serve you, Spirit of freedom, in the fullness of community.
And now I'd like to invite you to rise as you are able and join us in our opening hymn, which is hymn number 183. 183.
I will play through the whole thing and then we'll sing 4 verses.
immortal lands we seek to gain are inaccessible design. Divine summons to attain with faith that sinks and feet that die. But might shall conquer or control the heavenward wonder of our soul. The end elusive and afar still lures us with its beckoning flight, and our immortal moments are ascensions of the infinite. How shall we reach the great unknown? Will God and unknown takes
Please be seated. I invite you to hear these words of our territorial acknowledgement. Friends, we pause now during our service to acknowledge that we now stand and sit upon the traditional territories of the indigenous people, the Dakota, for whom this very county and congregation are named, and at least 10 other tribes of Native people throughout the current borders of the state of Minnesota. Over hundreds of years, Native communities across the Americas have demonstrated resilience and resistance in the face of violent efforts to separate them from their land, culture, and each other. Today, Indigenous people remain at the forefront of movements to protect Mother Earth and the life she sustains, along with the preservation of their own human cultures and traditions. We acknowledge that it is critical to be an active part of public intervention, taking necessary steps toward honoring Indigenous communities and enacting that much larger project of decolonization and reconciliation. May this weekly acknowledgement be not only a reminder, but even more so an inspirational call to action, to work to ensure whatever reparations are possible be carried out through this ancient, holy land we all now call home. This is the time during our service where, if you feel so moved, that we invite you to come and share a joy and or concern and light a candle from the chalice. At the end, I will say a light a final candle in honor of all of those that have not been spoken.
So I have a concern today. My mother-in-law, Keith's mom, fell and broke her hip. She's 75. And of course, social workers get involved to get her into transitional care, and through some of the testing they've done with her, nobody in the family can any longer ignore that she does have Alzheimer's and will need to be not living independently anymore. So this is concern for her as well as the family that has to kind of wrap their minds around that. So keep us in your thoughts, please.
I am lighting a candle for our country. Probably a lot of you, or most of you, have heard that there was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. But we need to heal this country, and we need to heal it now, so that violence isn't a thing in our politics.
This is a joy because over the 4th of July weekend, I got to go up to my parents' cabin to see my brother and his family, my niece and nephew. It's always fun to see them.
this is a concern. A very large tree in my. Sorry, we want this one to keep going. A very large tree in my backyard. Half of it went down in my neighbor's yard and took out their fence and another neighbor's fence behind them. And I think, I suspect that the trees are going to have to go. There's just too much of it damaged. And dealing with somebody to come take care of it is going to be an issue. I called one person and they're going to come and look at it this evening. But it's going to be a big job because it was a huge tree and half of it's still huge. And my other is, I don't know if it's a joy or concern, but this month is my 82nd birthday.
Not a day over 40, you don't.
So I love you, right?
This is for my sister who is pregnant, so
Did I do that?
things go according to plan. I'll have a new nibbling around Christmas time.
Thank you, Megan, for making me more aware how incredibly lucky I've been. I have had, I've been in my house now for 28 years, and it's totally wooded, and I've had a bunch of huge trees fall, and never has one fallen on anything. They just go right in between.
They know better.
They know better. And the last one, I heard it and I saw it, and I thought, oh, it's going to be over my driveway. And I went, and it's just very beautifully sculpted along the side of my driveway. But the other reminder that often concerns turn into joys. Some of you saw that Greenie was on TV again, which was so nice of Boyd to do that. It was his idea. But when he called me to say, is it okay if we run it again? And I said, sure, yeah. He said, he's back, right? And I said, well, yeah, he's back, but I haven't seen him in about 3 days. And he went, oh. And I said, but that's not that unusual, So time went on, and it was 2 weeks before they showed it. He was gone for 3.5 weeks, and I was already rewriting the end of my book, and then he showed up like he always does. So, yeah, he's something else.
Maybe he's like our cat was.
Yeah, the
With
male
2
cat.
homes. Well,
Oh.
our cat had 2 homes.
Oh.
Get twice as much food.
Oh.
Thought I could squeeze one in here. Good to see all of you.
Good to see you.
I would do better. Okay, so I have a joy. My great nephew is going to be in a play this afternoon, and it's called Nemo Jr. And so, and he's 13, and he had a bout of depression when he was in 5th grade, and now he's been in plays, and he's just marvelous. And so with this Nemo play, they were able to get these puppets from Broadway to use for this play. And so the puppet goes up your arm, and then the person speaks, and they have to move the mouth of the fish like they are speaking. So I'm just delighted about having the opportunity to go see.
Yeah.
You have one service a month, you have lots of.
It means I have to preach less, so it's good.
So
So this is a joy and a concern. A joy, my son visited us for about 9 days before the 4th of July, which was wonderful. And a concern because he is dealing with some stuff. So I hope that all gets worked out for him.
Oh, it's 2 candles. Some of you probably already know this, but we're closing on a farm on Monday.
Oh, that's awesome.
The one down in the corner of Dakota County.
It's in Osceola County.
Oh.
Yeah, Blooming Grove is the township.
What's the town?
There's a nice
Blooming
name.
Grove.
I don't know where exactly. It's south on 52-ish. Oh, okay, so south, yeah.
Yeah, about like 50, 45 minutes.
Wow.
What kind of farming will you be doing?
Regenerative, restorative farming. We already have like 150 chickens, like.
Oh, beautiful.
Oops. It was supposed to only be 50. On order. So pick them up this week.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow, that's so fun.
But you're gonna have to build the.
Oh, we already have one.
Okay.
We're good.
I would also like to light a candle of, I'm going to call this a candle of anti-violence. That's all I have to say. After church, I can talk more. And now I'll light a final candle for all those joys and concerns that remain unspoken. May we know that whatever befalls us in life, we are held in the loving embrace of this community. And now we say together, for all of these joys and concerns, both spoken and unspoken,
We hold you in our hearts.
Our reflective reading today is written by a UU minister. Her name is Eleandra Williams, and it's called Pushing Forward. If we believe in the promise of our faith, we must continue pushing forward, even if the reality makes us want to give up. There is no one-size-fits-all solution or model, but there are many paths forward based on context, relationships, and place. From behind, 4 black women stand with their arms around each other's waists. Ideology sparks movements, but relationships are what change organizations and sustain movements. It takes one relationship at a time. In the end, changes to the leadership of the institution happen because of relationships, people pushing. We must place value on the relationships and the need to not leave folks behind in our quest for transformation. I live in a small city, and living in that small city helps me understand what community means. Community doesn't only include the people who agree with you or those with whom you want to be friends. Our Unitarian Universalist faith is similar in the sense that we are all a small religious community of people who are not bound by the creed or any creed, but instead are bound by principles, values, and a covenant with a need for intellectual rigor combined with spiritual depth and humanist love. Everything comes back to our congregations and covenanted communities. That is where the faith starts and ends. We must embody the changes we wish to see and say not just that we believe in those changes. We must actually live the changes with every fabric of our being. If we believe in the promise of our faith, we must continue pushing forward. She made this as a speech, which is the reference. I just wanted to make sure I quoted her directly, which is the reference of the 4 black women that were standing in front of her in a panel. May those words bring us enlightenment. So when I was young, and this came out in the MailChimp, but when I was young, I had family that always told me to live like this is the first day of the rest of my life. And I never really knew what that meant. I'm not sure that I still know what that means, but it sounds pretty inspirational. At least I hope that was the intention that they wanted to give me, some inspiration and some encouragement. But I prepared this presentation before what happened yesterday. And I sometimes believe in serendipity, because if there is any time that we need to have new beginnings in this nation and around the world, the time is now. And at the same time this is happening, my family is engaging in new beginnings as well. At the same time, this congregation has already embarked on new beginnings. That is why the theme today is about that. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Christmas in July. Sure doesn't feel like Christmas out there. But if we harken back, it didn't feel like Christmas at Christmas this past year either. But it's only a couple of months before we begin our regular church year. And so I wanted to pick this particular day, not just because we're closing on a farm tomorrow, but because this is a great way for us to jumpstart our thought processes and our community development to think about this next church year, which will be my second year, beginning my second year here. And I welcome any kinds of thoughts along the way about what we could be doing through the next year. So this is also an invitation for people to talk to me, email me, call me, or whatever, because I can take a lot of the ideas that you say, well, why don't we try this? Or I've always wanted to be in a congregation that did this. Now, can I guarantee that we can do everything in the world like, 5,000 member church? No. But it's time for us to engage in new beginnings in a new way, which is bring ideas. We're going to be trying a new idea for a night activity through the week called Tuesday PM. We're kind of aiming for November-ish to try to start that. Not the first Tuesday in November, as I was speaking of change. But originally that's what I had thought about. We'll do it the second Tuesday in November. But the idea is that Tuesday PM is going to be Tuesday Poetry and Music. So it's going to be a service that is a little less formal, not that we're really that formal anyway, but more about creativity, art, music, conversation, in an attempt to spread the message of love that we have in this congregation and throughout Unitarian Universalism to a broader audience that isn't real fond about either getting up on Sunday morning or have to work, like Duran, my husband. So, if we try it and after a given amount of time, it's not like something that takes off. It's not a failure, it's a learning opportunity. Now I know that sounds pretty cliche because people have told us that over and over, but if we don't try it, we'll never know whether or not it's the right thing or a new beginning to engage. And so in that same vein, this is a time when I would like, and the board would like, to hear from people and figure out some things that we'd like to start to either implement during the next church year or think about implementing in the future at some point. Because at this time, in the life of faithful communities, people are really finding, especially the leaders of those faith communities, that these most unorthodox ventures are the things that are actually attracting more people to faith communities. And part of that is because traditional faith community services have some trauma associated with them. I know when I grew up, I was forced to go to a church and hear rhetoric that, and you've heard me talk about that before, that I didn't want to hear. So there's some trauma, and we have to be understanding about that. But we also understand that we haven't given up on love or faith or religious community. And so there are people that are really hungry for that, but hungry for it in a way where they come and they feel as if they are completely and totally welcome no matter what. And as wonderful as that sounds, that's hard to do. And one of the ways that we can do that is to organize activities that are intended, one, to live out the mission and vision of this congregation, but two, to reach to people who have different modalities of learning, as they say in education, or different ways of practicing spirituality. Now, at the risk of not trying to be, too excited about this new farm, I will say that new beginnings are exciting, but they're also frightening. Because with new ideas, with new ventures, with new activities, comes a fear of change. We're all, at least to some degree, scared of change. But when I remember when I first came here, several people said, well, we've got to try something. And that was a little bit of a sigh. What I'm finding now is everybody says, oh, that sounds like something really cool to try. And so I'm really excited about that in this congregation, just like I'm excited to do a lot of trial and error things like, maybe I shouldn't have ordered 150 baby chicks yet. But it's going to be fun and exciting. I know lots of chicken people, so if it's too much, I have lots of people to give them to, so that's no problem. But there's a thing that we call chicken math, because it's like, oh, what, 4 more chickens is not that much. And then all of a sudden you have all of these chickens. But on the upside, all of you can look forward to eggs next year. So exciting. Those of you that eat eggs, anyway. At least they're pasture raised and all of that. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. Another cliche. We have so much love to give. You've heard me say it over and over. This is your summer reminder. This is the most loving congregation I've ever been a part of. And that love is so important that we should give it away. There is for my history is, I grew up on contemporary Christian music. But there's one song that I still like, not many, but there's one song I still like, which is, love isn't love until you give it away. But giving it away doesn't mean holding a service on Sunday morning and expecting everybody to come in and find a way to have their spirituality nurtured. Now, most of us are here because that is happening in various ways, because we do different things. But I'm inviting you into the discussion to figure out what else could we do? What kind of activities could we do? What kind of ways could we venture out into the community and do more good in the world by spreading the love that this congregation embodies? An example would be what's happening tomorrow at Dawn's house. For example, getting together with people who really believe in change and really believe in the power of getting together and spreading information about what needs to happen in this nation in order for us to come together. And I'm not saying one particular political side, I'm talking about getting people to vote, because it does matter. There are people that are attracted to those activities because you don't know how many young people I see in my undergraduate classes every single day is, I don't know how to make a difference. Yes, I'm registered to vote. Yes, I'm going to the polls in November. Thank goodness. But I want to do more. But marching in a pride parade isn't my thing, or going out and protesting something isn't my thing, even though that was all my stuff when I was young. Not everybody's like that. So what could we do in this community to attract people so that they can feel the love that we have, embody it with us, and understand that they truly belong in a place that is a place of radical hospitality and amazing welcome like this congregation has to offer. New Beginnings gives us an opportunity to start over again. And even though I kind of get frustrated with the phrase start over again, because I myself have started over again way too many times, but it's not really starting over again. It's actually like being on a journey along a path, and we've all taken, either together as a community or individually, and both, we've taken little turns, but sometimes it leads us back to the path, sometimes it leads us to a completely different place. So it's not like really starting over again. It's about taking a trip, seeing if that leg of the journey works for us, and if it fizzles out, there's no reason to be disheartened. Come back to the journey. We've got a community here to support each other. That's what this is about. I know that last year in July, which was my first summer here, I think the July service had like 5 people. Now we have all of these people. This is pretty big for a summer crowd. Plus we have people online. We have Joan joining us from North Carolina. Sorry, Joan, I didn't mean to pick on you, but since you joined us earlier, I knew that. She's moving to Egan, so she wanted to check in with us. This is a matter of radical hospitality. Welcome, Joan. We're glad that you're here, and see what technology can do. Think about things. Figure out some ideas. It's like, if anybody's ever taken an English Comp 1 class, I teach one, so that's what it is. But brainstorming, it's okay. You got to start somewhere. Many of you know that I'm getting a book published next year. Well, hopefully, anyway, if the manuscript gets done. But you know, you don't know how many times I've metaphorically taken the piece of paper and wadded it up and threw it away. I didn't really do that because it's on the computer, but you know what I'm saying. It's okay. It's okay to start over on a chapter. It's not okay to throw the whole thing out and say, I'm not going to do it. That's what's not okay. Now, there are times when that's appropriate, but not in a time of new beginnings. We need to try it. Be open. And also, the challenge is when other people are trying it, you don't have to necessarily be a part of the task force to do it, but please offer your support and love and admiration. One of the things that we talked about in the meeting this morning, our church council meeting, was whether or not we should continue movie night next year. And I was like, of course we should continue movie night. I mean, if 2 or 3 people show up and we have a good time on a Friday night instead of going and doing something else that would not necessarily benefit us and our community as much, like go spend too much money at Target or whatever, hey, let's do it. Or ordering 150 chickens. I don't know, whatever else can happen on that. But we ask you, as we get these ideas, as a community, and that you're presented with these opportunities, to just support people and say, I'm really glad that you're doing that. I'm not really into poetry and music like that, but I'm really glad that you're doing that. I'm not really into going and sitting in a movie night the last Friday of every month, but I'm really glad that we have that. Because you never know who might be really interested in doing that. They may not be interested in coming on Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m., but they may be interested in coming and getting community, supportive community, no matter who they are, no matter where they are on faith's journey. Even if somebody comes and visits us and says, I'm an atheist, but I need community. We've had that. We have members like that. absolutely amazing. But the community and the love of this community, that's what we have. That is our primary asset. And so as we engage in new beginnings, buying a house, starting a new church year, thinking about things like ideas that will say, okay, or I should say, ask questions like, what can we do? How can we get people to know what we're doing over here? Because the build it and they will come thing is over. Field of Dreams, great movie. But that time is over. It's time to put our love in action in new and different ways and to support each other. You may not be the person that can get up and, do whatever it is that needs to be done, but you could certainly contribute ideas and you can contribute loving support and say, go for it, I'm behind you, let's do this. So I'm asking this congregation to join me as we live together like this is the first day of the rest of our lives. Blessed be. Before we move into a time of reflection, I would be remiss if I didn't say how blessed we are to have Kathleen to play and to share with us original compositions and
Right here, see it?
it's amazing. Talk about a new beginning.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
So I open it up for discussion and reflection on anything that has come to mind.
What kind of breed are your chickens?
I have 20 different breeds. I'll talk to you after.
Okay.
You're gonna get 20 different breeds of chickens out of this? Well, that's gonna be fun.
I think so too.
Do you need
Well, the point is,
egg cartons? I got a bunch of
I'll need them in the spring.
I
Yeah.
think
Definitely will need them in the spring.
Oh, okay. What is that?
I was just thinking, I think the challenge will be reaching out to those in the community. Because we all have good ideas of things we'd all like to do together, right? But what are gonna be some things that will help us reach out to the community? I think that will be the challenge, I think. And how, as you were saying, how do we get that word out? How do we advertise, so to speak?
right, well, we've been through, looking at this, had some people that came in and talked to us about how to reach out to, let's just say Egan community, Dakota County, whatever. And a couple of things. One was find out what your community needs, social justice-wise, and then go there, and then be involved. One of the problems we have is that we're really spread out. And so that an event I might go to might be just way too much for somebody else. And so that's kind of, I think, part of our challenge is that, you know, we're all the way from what, Prior Lake to Invergrove, right?
To Wasika.
To Wasika, yeah, yeah.
We'll
So,
figure it out.
yeah.
When you were talking about support of the group, and when my husband was ill and after he died, the support that I got from this congregation is pretty much what got me through it. And so it's been an amazing group and an amazing part of my life for a lot of years.
I think that music and poetry night sounds like a good thing to try. We've got a few people, you know, I'm thinking already that could invite for that. And also last night we went to see the Prairie Home Companion 50th anniversary. And one of the things he talked about with his, you know, quite strongly with his new slogan was people go to church or people go to the local basketball game because they need to be part of a community more than they need to see, you know, high school basketball, or even if their faith isn't that strong. So I think you're right on the point there, Bryan.
I think it's possible to be an atheist and be a spiritual being.
There's a hummingbird just out the window, so you've spoken truth. The hummingbird was just trying to get in here. That's how lovely we are. That sounds cultish, I didn't mean it that way.
It's close
Yeah, it's
to
a real
it.
season for hydrangeas and hostas.
Yeah.
It's kind of a summer joy.
Mhm.
The hummingbird is not far, isn't that far from a chicken.
Yeah. I agree.
Hosta's life.
It's a
Another
relative.
Can you tell us a little more about your new home, or is this not the time?
Oh, I'd love to, why don't we do that so I'm not so self-indulgent? I mean, I would love
Okay.
to. That's
Yeah.
like when a new baby comes and you want to talk about it. But we'll talk about it
After
after
the
church. How
service.
about that?
Yeah.
We can talk about how many different breeds of chicken. I mean, what different breeds of chicken. I was going to just reflect back about how the challenge is, of course, yes, reaching out to people. But, you know, even though some of us, including myself, are a little technophobic, technology is our friend. Especially the younger people that survived, sometimes just barely through the pandemic. Technology has transformed the way that community is done. And in fact, there's a whole entire, I don't even know how to do it. So like everybody looks at me and says, oh, you have some technology experience. Yes, but technology, it's like if you graduate with a technology degree, and you know, this time from college, if you start that technology degree when you're a sophomore in college, everything that you know is obsolete by the time you graduate, because that's how fast technology changes. But there's a group that started with gamers called Discord. It's something that a lot of people are a part of, and it doesn't have specific ages attached to it. And I still haven't figured it out. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't actually venture and find a way to create community on Discord. And that, because I'm involved in another community group that has blossomed as a result of getting on there. So, you know, that's why technology is a part of it, but also just bringing ideas. More ideas, the better. Just like the title of my book is The More Love, the Better. But the more love, the better starts with the more ideas, the better, because that's how we can spread our love. That was your second sermon. Well, at this point, it seems like a natural segue, so invite us if you want to ask me questions about the farm or continue this discussion. Again, you don't have to come up and tell us your ideas today. You can spend some time thinking about it. And, you know, I'm a good conduit for that, but we have many leaders in here that would be that way as well. We'll bring those, the church council having a retreat in August, and we'll be able to start mulching over those ideas that you might bring in. But it doesn't have to stop then either. So we'll talk more. And I would invite you now to join us in the closing hymn. Now this hymn is not in the hymnal. The words are on the screen. This hymn is called "This is a Day of New Beginnings." Surprise! It's thematic. But this is actually from the United Church of Christ hymnal, but I changed the words because I love changing words. So I'll turn it over to Kathleen.
Okay, so I'm gonna play through it so you can really hear that melody. Maybe I'll just play the melody and then I do chords with it and we'll do 3 verses.
Sorry. This is a day of new beginnings, time to remember and move on, time to believe what love is bringing, laying to rest the pain that's gone. So let us with the Spirit's stirrings step down the paths and leave behind our disappointment, fears, and grieving, seeking new paths that sure to find. In faith we gather round this table to send a light of love to all. This is a day of new beginnings. This love is making all things new. And so as we prepare to go out into the world again from this community, I invite you to think not only about those things and those ideas that might help us continue to transform the world through the love this congregation has, but also think about yourself and how you would like to be involved in a myriad of activities like that, and how you know people out there in the community who are longing for community so much that they're just trying to find a place to belong. And we'd like to think that that could be here. And as we move forward, I also want to say that we're going to try a new thing that we didn't do last church year, which is extinguishing the chalice. And so with that, we're also, instead of a postlude where we all just sit down and listen, which was fantastic, and we'll still do that a little bit, we're going to close with a song. If you were here the day that Josh and I did our best to sing this, we're going to do a chorus, and in the middle of the chorus, we're going to sing it twice, the chalice will be extinguished. And when we extinguish the chalice, it doesn't mean that we're putting the light out. It means that we're taking the light and sending it out. Kathleen?
Okay, so I'm going to play through the melody for you. Then you're going to sing and I'll play the melody with you. And then the second time I play the chords while you sing the melody. Here we go.
We are sending you light. best, everyone.
Now sit down and answer a question.
I'm gonna be obedient. Yeah, feel free to ask questions, but I'll just tell you that the farm is a 10-acre farm in Waseca. It's actually right on the border of Steele County and Waseca County. It's about 12 minutes from Owatonna, to kind of give you that.
Oh, yeah.
So about 12 minutes from 35, so it's not far off of 35. And there's a house, and it's a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house with a 3-car garage, which is great because there's 3 of us, so that works out really well. It has 3 outbuildings, one of which will probably end up being a storage for the church storage unit, so we don't have to pay for that anymore. One of the 3 buildings is in the process of being converted into a large chicken coop.
It's gonna be a big building.
It is a big building, it's a huge building. It's a 1-car extended garage that's being transformed into a chicken coop, so it's great. And then the house is on 4 acres, and like I said, it's 10 acres total. So the house has a yard of 4 acres, which has 3 vineyards and has an entire orchard of like 14 apple trees, and has kiwi vines as well, and has an asparagus patch, black raspberries, and then an entire garden.
Kiwi, you said?
Kiwis, yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
And then it's got all kinds of flowering trees. And then 2 acres is actually a pasture of hay that has historically been harvested by a farmer, and will be that this year too, which also has a wetland on it, which is awesome. And then 4 acres, we're going to call it, instead of the back 40, we're going to call it the back 4, which is right now planted in corn, which will, starting next spring, start to be converted to a restorative, regenerative, organic field to raise market
I
vegetables
think
and
we
fruit.
should pour some of this into the new bowl.
Yes, we are.
Is that where you'll be living?
Yes, we'll be living there.
Yeah.
And who else will be living there?
There's just 3 of us, Ron, Josh, and myself.
Okay, all right.
Well, we wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
We're doing it from 6:30 to 8:30. Well, having grown up on a farm, I know about all.
Yeah, that's enough. Much better. What do we do with that? We got a new bowl. Because this one's so heavy, we don't need that much sand, right? Holly brought this in.
So if you want to just.
We had talked about it before. Yeah, what are we gonna do with this?
Dump the sand over.
It will a certain amount.
Where we can put it, I don't have storage.
There's another thing.
I mean, can we dump the sand over the hill up there, do you think?
Possibly, I don't know, I haven't been out there to look.
Like just
They just call
sprinkle it around, not just one pile, I think. That should be fine, right?
But
Yeah.
one of the things.
Yeah, this is much easier to move around.
They're default. So if you just said, okay.
Thank you, Joan, for joining.
Like 15, so let's say it's way even more.
Where's Kathy today?
She's at the
And where is Kelly and Chuck, you know?
I think it says other amount, and then there's a down menu, and it will go down and it says 0 to.
Visiting their daughter.
Oh, Emily is Illinois? Okay.
Questions, just call me, yeah. And I'll help you.
Don't be chickens, but you don't have to.
I used to gather the eggs, slop the chicks, and milk the cows. Yes, hay bales, bigger than I was. Did I? I mean, I was only a. I know I did, it was when I was on hay bales, they were this big, wasn't it? Well, Wasn't it a really long time ago? You sent it? I remember getting it, and I thought, I see why it hasn't come through. I never did. But I'm pretty sure that I got the check, right? It was just like, I don't remember a month ago, so, you know, it's like.
We get free labor from that.
So,
So.
I feel so distracted by, you know, I get distracted, my mind starts wandering, and
There's some big rocks in
it's
there.
really hard to figure things out now, you know. But I just wanted to let you know that that one I can usually get. It's more like, you know,
all that is?
driving in the car and getting to my place.
Well, let's just set it on the numbers it is, we'll take it. We'll get a new one.
Because I
Holly brought in one, the smaller one, that's so heavy. And I was like, we don't need that much sand.
I was wondering, well, I thought I was wrapped in my empty, and I thought, well, how
No, we got a new one. Much lighter and still.
You don't have to really get it. I may want to do
Hello there.
Hello, honey. Beautiful music there.
Thank you. See, there's a connection of this lives.
Big love.
But I
Big love is the answer. Well, both of them.
Yeah, the second one was because musical change. Yeah, do you like that one?
Yes, and the other one, Live Love.
Why entering
Love is the answer. Love is the answer.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
first one.
Okay.
Clockwise roundabout.
That love is the answer. I never did be wrong. I presented that actually
Trying to
last
get
year.
your inspiration.
It's
Yes,
so
yes,
special.
yes.
Yeah, I'm really working on it. And I found a guy in Minneapolis. It's hard to tell you.
I know, because he does like going that, you know, I mean, the first thing.
And I incorporate, you know, because I studied jazz, I incorporate
I put
that.
mine in the.
Jazz harmony and that kind of stuff.
How old is the
And it's
house?
so easy for me to shut out everything.
21 years
Not be able
old.
to-
So
It's
that's a
like
couple that
painting.
sold it to us.
Be in the here and now.
The house is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like that, be like that.
And raise it.
You know what, like,